Welcome. My name is Dr. Shripad Joshi. I'm a researcher and an entrepreneur, also a CSPC volunteer today. It's my pleasure to interview Dr. Baljit Singh, who is the Vice President of Research at University of Saskatchewan. I appreciate his contribution to CSPC and his organization, that is University of Saskatchewan's contribution and support to CSPC. We want to know about University of Saskatchewan's contribution towards the sustainable development goals, and prairies and University of Saskatchewan being the heart of the prairies. What do you think your role is in the entire sustainable development goal that we are getting towards?
Well, thank you very much, Shripad, for this opportunity to sit down and with you and talk about some of the important work that University of Saskatchewan is doing in Canada and also with impact around the globe. University of Saskatchewan was established about 120 years ago, right around the time when province of Saskatchewan was created. At that point, the major push was to develop agriculture in the prairies, and University of Saskatchewan began to work with the communities to provide the knowledge and the technologies which were the technology of the day, so that the agriculture and agri-food system in the prairies could develop. Those were the days when university would send out its scientists and researchers and extension specialists via train to various farms across the province. It was called farm train. So the province and the university developed together, intertwined with each other. With the passage of time, as agri-food system have developed, and there are new economic enterprises, mining, animal production, vaccine development, synchrotron sciences, public policy, university has continued to do that, but our roots are still in this prairie agri-food system type of background, and we continue to be very proud of that. And today, with all that development behind us, the University of Saskatchewan has developed really a stellar track record when it comes to developing agri-food technologies which are sustainable, which allow us to do agri-food production in a sustainable way, which allow us to look at various components of the environment that intersect with the agri-food production in a holistic way, so that we can continue to produce the food that the growing world population need today and tomorrow. University of Saskatchewan, to do that, has developed infrastructure, which is, let's say, a crop development center, which is a large enterprise where scientists do experimental work, from developing a new genetic variety to all the agronomy and the inputs that you need to produce the crop. Simultaneously, there is Global Institute for Food Security, which has some of the most advanced genomics and phenomics platforms in the country to aid the development of new varieties and also to accelerate the development of a variety which typically takes 7 to 8 years to bring it down to 2, 3, 4 year period, so that we can get more varieties in the hands of the farmers today. We need to do that with the type of speed that I'm talking about, because, for example, there is climate change. How do we produce varieties that can grow with the lesser amount of the water and the fertilizer input, but give the same amount of yield here in India or anywhere else in the world? So we are working with a global responsibility towards agri-food system. The other aspect of the food production, of course, are the animals. When you look at the pigs and the cattle and the chickens, having a veterinary school, having an animal science program, and having the associated infrastructure such as the livestock and a forage center of excellence allows us to do not only the work on the forage development, pasture management, but it also allows us to understand the development of the animals, how to feed them in a sustainable way, how to make them yield optimally the amount of the milk or the eggs or the meat that we want to get out of them. The third component of the agri-food production system is the water. Water is a commodity which Canada is very much blessed with. We have large amount of fresh water, but we still need to be very careful. How do we understand how much water do we have? How do we use it? And then how do we save it? So understanding the development of the water resources and their use is a major research program at University of Saskatchewan. We have a long-standing center of hydrology, we have a Global Institute for Water Security. University of Saskatchewan currently houses one of the largest freshwater research program in the world. It is the largest in the country. It's a collaborative program. We have scientists from many universities across the country, so we like to work collaboratively. That is the third key a major key ingredient of University of Saskatchewan. It's never about us. It's about everyone. So we like to work collaboratively. It's a prairie ethos. It's the prairie way of doing work together, really working together. So the water comes into play for the plant-based agri-food and the animal-based agri-food system. So we work at the intersection of water and food, and that brings in the issue of environmental sustainability.
Yes.
Within that comes the role of the looking at these components in a very integrated way. So university does work in a very interdisciplinary manner, and we have a concept called One Health. We were one of the earliest proponents of One Health in the country. We ran Canada's first One Health training program. So we apply the lens of One Health, where the health of the animals, humans, and the environment being agri-food systems, water, and everything else, and we look at this whole story through a single lens of One Health. So University of Saskatchewan, to sum it up, has developed some of the most advanced infrastructure which we share with scientists from across the country and also from around the globe. And some of that I have mentioned, but we also have Canada's Vaccine and Infectious Disease Organization. We have Canada's only synchrotron located at the University of Saskatchewan campus. So we take our national responsibility very, very seriously to maintain and operate these infrastructures for the benefit of Canada and also for benefit of the world, and advancing reputation of Canada and Saskatchewan everywhere in the globe.
Thank you so much for that. You mentioned some great points about what University of Saskatchewan is rightly doing. What do you think one policy change can really help accelerate this entire process? And to as you said, it's not just Saskatchewan; it's for entire Canada or beyond. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think that policy change will also accelerate the collaboration and other things to get to our goals faster?
Right. I mean, collaboration is the key here, not only within the province or within the university, but across the country. Mm-hmm. Without collaboration, a country as large as Canada, with only 40 million plus people, cannot do all the things where we need to do without working together. To work together is an art, it's a science. So we need to figure out a way as to why people work together. They work together because they want to solve a problem. They work together because they want to celebrate the success after they have solved a problem. But to make them work together, we need infrastructure where people come together to work together. If you build the same type of infrastructure everywhere across the country, then nobody will come together. They will work in their own houses. They will play with their own soccer ball. If there's only one soccer ball or few soccer balls, then more people will come together to work together. So developing the type of national infrastructure that I was talking about at University of Saskatchewan allows people to come to Saskatchewan. Similarly, allows people from Saskatchewan to go to University of British Columbia to use the infrastructure which is there. So we develop collaboration that way. At the end of the day, the collaborative effort is needed if we are going to put that technology in the hands of the end users in a shortest possible period of time. If University of Saskatchewan was able to put 500 varieties of new varieties of crops in the hands of the producers in Saskatchewan and across Canada, it was through collaboration. Because farmers would say, I need a variety that can do this. And the scientists will get to the work and they will produce the variety which farmers are ready to take, and it quickly moves there. Similarly, if we are going to look at development of new treatments for people suffering from cancer, from infectious diseases, again we need collaboration to do that in this country, from public policy to molecular biology people to animal scientists to the human doctors. It has to be a one single spectrum of the story that we need to have in place. Another point is that this latest report by Canadian Council of Academies shows that Canadians are falling behind in productivity. Canadians are falling behind in entrepreneurship. We are losing our intellectual property from this country, it moves to other places. We cannot scale up our companies and they move from here to other countries. To overcome all of this story, we need to be collaborating. We need to put our mind together and think about what is the fundamental issue that's leading to all these challenges which Canadians are becoming very concerned about. So again, that needs collaboration. You may say, what is your answer? I don't have an answer. All the answer I have is that it's not in the hands of one individual, one organization, one province, or one part of the federal government. It requires everybody to sit together and figure out a path forward. The policy change could be that currently in our country we have lots of individual entities that do excellent work. We do not have a mechanism to coordinate the work of these entities towards a single Canadian national mission. So we need to figure that piece out. So if you ask me one policy change, I don't know how that policy change will come about, but this is the gap we have, and we need to do something to plug this gap so that the young people like you can build companies here, maintain IP in this country, can get the venture capital they need, and scale up the companies in Canada to create employment and the revenue, tax revenue for Canadian governments and everything else. So we need to really pay attention to that.
Thank you. You recently served on the Canadian Federal Research Support Program. What were the takeouts from that? Like, what can we see as output from that role that you played?
So it was quite a privilege to be member of the Bouchard panel, which was the federal advisory system to look at advisory panel to look at the federal research support system in the country. The previous one was led by Dr. Naylor in 2015-16. So this was in a way after that. So the 7-member panel took its work very seriously and over a short period of time looked into the data and the support that's available to Canadian researchers in our country at this point. We consulted with some international funding bodies from US to Germany to the United Kingdom, and we put together a report which was presented to the Minister of Innovation, Science and Economic Development, Minister Champagne, and also Minister Duclos, who was the Minister of Health at that point. And the report was finished in February or January 2023. There were a series of recommendations in the report. The Canadian government has taken the report quite seriously. And in the 2024 budget, for example, they acted on the recommendation to increase the research funding to Canada's tri-councils. That is the SHRC and the CIHR and the NSERC. It is in the budget. It's a multiple year commitment, which we are very happy with. The second part, which was a very lingering question in our country about high quality talent. The graduate student funding has been stalled at a certain level for 15-20 years. There has not been any increase in graduate student stipends which are paid by tri-councils. So the Government of Canada in the 2024 budget acted on that, increasing the amount of stipends and the number of scholarships which are available through federal government. And the third piece which we were very concerned about is the large research facilities in the country. How do we operate them over a long period of time? The current mechanism of applying funding every 6 years, we felt is not the best way to go forward. Our recommendation was that Canada should have a certain number of very unique, large research facilities which should have a long-term commitment for funding. Government is acting on that as well. They have picked first group of 6 research facilities which are undergoing review now for what we call Major Research Facilities Program, which is excellent development. The last recommendation, or one recommendation, which the government has mentioned in the budget this year and the last year, but still has actual work to do, is to develop a capstone body. The point I was making earlier, that Canadian innovation system is highly fragmented. We need a mechanism to coordinate the work. For example, if tomorrow we have to grow our defense research development, There should be a national body that should look at what are the universities and the private companies need to work in it, which are the government departments that need to play a role, how do we bring in PhD, MSc students and postdoctoral fellows into the program. It should be a package. Currently in Canada, we don't have such a mechanism in place. So that recommendation, I personally believe, government needs to act with a sense of urgency and a quickness so that we can do the type of work that needs to be done. So it was quite an honor to be on the Bouchard panel. I did learn a lot about Canada's research ecosystem, and I believe that report has been taken seriously by the government, and we all appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Just one last quick question. What's your opinion about CSPC and the whole community, and what's your opinion about the conference?
I began to attend CSPC in 2021. In the pandemic, I think it was the virtual conference at that time. So since then, I have come back every year. I have tried to at least propose an idea for a panel, and I have done a panel at least on each of these 4 conferences. So I've been able to engage with the CSPC in a way that not only I try to contribute an idea, but I also use it as a place where I get to talk to lots of people who are deeply interested in science policy in our country. I learn a lot over a 2-3 day period here by listening to panels, listening to plenaries, and really having an opportunity to sit down with some of the best thinkers that our country has, because they all come here. There are people from the private sector, from the federal government, from the provinces, from the funding bodies, from the universities, colleges. So this is an opportunity for all of us to connect and understand what type of policies Canada needs for its scientific progress, its innovation, its entrepreneurship, which at the end of the day contributes to Canada's prosperity, its sustainability, and also a better future for all the young people in the country for the years to come. So I really like what CSPC is doing. I appreciate the leadership of Dr. Harere Mehrdad, our dear leader, and happy to be supporting the conference, working with them. University of Saskatchewan makes sure that whatever we can do to support through sponsorship, we try to do it every year. So we are connected to CSPC. We hope to remain connected to CSPC, and I find it's a very valuable forum in our country for all of us to get together.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. It was really a pleasure talking to you. And on behalf of CSPC, I appreciate your talking to us for the interview. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.